This is for you, ladies. And live from Nakusa, it's Saturday night!
Ryan Liebherr. Ben Belkey. Saturday Night Live, and your host, Confucian.
Oh, hello, and welcome to Saturday Night Live. Today we have something very special for you. Here today is Ben Melke. Whoa. No applause for Ben. No one likes him, but we have him here for some reason. Also here today is Ryan Ribe. Yes, he's okay. You can clap for him. We also have Scurvy. I hear you want proverb from me, so I bring you a proverb. Confucius say, "Man who chase car get exhausted, but man who run in front of car get tired." You right? Okay, I say more. Man who stand on toilet is high on pie. Man who eat too many prune get a good run for money. Elevator smell different to midget. That's all I have for you. Good night.
Alright, Marcus, you reached pretty far with that intro.
I don't know. I kinda liked it.
Well, it was okay, I guess.
Shut up, Ben. No one likes you.
You know, I have feelings too.
Because we haven't been able to get a full grade on attire, you will now see all of us wearing iconic, conical Chinese hats.
So, aside from what could actually arguably be considered racism, we, who knew, actually have information.
We do?
I hope we do.
I guess we're really lucky that Marcus made this script.
That man is a saint. I really don't know what we'd do without him.
I agree, and I'd also like to point out that we are not just saying this because he wrote it into the script. Seriously, Marcus?
Anyway, this whole Chinese religion thing.
Right. So, the Chinese had some pretty interesting beliefs, and unlike other religions and cultures that we've already studied, they didn't really follow one religion as an entire people.
Although there were probably more faiths in ancient China, you either followed one, or sometimes people followed multiple, of the three main religions.
Number 1, Taoism.
Number 2, Buddhism.
Confucianism,
Now, we'll start with Taoism.
which can often be confused with Gnosticism.
Ben, you just shouldn't make jokes.
I'm just tired of not ever having any fan mail.
I get fan mail.
Is it from your mom?
Yes.
So Taoism was founded during the Zhou dynasty in the 6th century by a guy named Lao Tzu.
He wrote the book Tao Te Ching, which combined with Zhuangzi made the foundation of Taoism.
Now, Tao means the way. Taoists were followers of the way, which was a belief not actually specific to Taoism.
When we picture a deity, we picture a person, just like many polytheistic religions do today. But Taoism took it a different route.
The Tao, or the way, was to them their god.
Now, Lao Tzu once wrote, "The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao," meaning that if you understood the path that you were following, it is not the eternal path. Doesn't make any sense.
Taoism put a lot of emphasis on the practice that they called Wu Wei, which when translated back to us, means absolutely nothing. That's what they did. Absolutely nothing.
This was a huge part of Eastern Asian principles in general, and it was practiced through simplified life, humility, compassion, and rice.
No matter what you believed, rice was a pretty common practice.
You would also never see a fat Taoist.
Oh, come on, Ben. They're poor over there.
No, Ryan. Taoists believes that part in keeping, your soul healthy was also keeping your body healthy.
Well, that's stupid.
Taoists not only believed that their body had to be healthy, but also their mind, because then that also made their soul healthy.
Thus, the practice of meditation.
One type of Chinese meditation is Ding, which means to decide, settle, stabilize, firm, and solid. And it actually means all of those words.
That's just unnecessary.
But wait, there's more. The second type of meditation was called Guan, which meant look at, carefully, watch, observe, view, and scrutinize.
It was a very efficient language. You could actually fit an entire novel on a piece of paper.
The last type of meditation means Kun, which basically means to exist, to live, to be there, to be present.
Ben, I'm pretty sure that's the plotline of The Walking Dead.
It was actually the act of contemplating life. Kind of like how the Greek philosophers doubted everything. The Chinese just sat down and did the same.
So as you might have guessed, Taoism wasn't so much of a religion, but more of a philosophy and a way of life. In fact, many Chinese schools adapted the idea of Taoism and was teaching it for a long time.
All over the world during this time period, we see different philosophers from completely different regions teaching about the absolutes of life.
The Greek taught wisdom, the Germanic people taught power, Jesus taught love, and the Chinese philosophers taught wisdom.
All of these people and God believed they were teaching the meaning of life.
Another following that gained popularity after Taoism was Confucianism.
That's me.
Most of us have heard of Confucius as those guy that came up with those proverbs.
Originally, Confucius's name was Kong Qiao, but it was later Latinized, like most Eastern names are.
There are also a few sacred texts that Confucius wrote, including,
Alright, Arabic or Renewal, 5 Classic or Wuxing, and 4 Book or Sishu.
Wow, Confucius, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, man. Aren't you proud?
Confucius said, modesty is a cited of beauty.
Well, you are a good-looking guy.
That's what the ladies tell me.
It's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Anyway, Confucius was never considered to be anything in his lifetime. He even considers himself a failure.
Oh, man, I'm really sorry.
Like Vincent van Gogh, though, Confucius's ideas and his work did not become popular until he was dead.
Ben, nobody watches anime.
Confucius also had a very agnostic way of looking at life.
Agnostic, a person who holds that the existence of the ultimate cause, as God, and the essential nature of things are unknown and unknowable, or that human knowledge is limited to experience.
Confucius believed that because afterlife and God were impossible to understand, that we should do good in our, current life out of the goodness of our hearts.
It's Mr. Steal Your Girl.
It's interesting. Confucius didn't really teach his students a bunch of moral concepts that they had to believe, but more of loving your neighbor and treating others like you want to be treated.
Huh. Greek philosophers did the same thing. You know what? Jesus emphasized love more than anything. It's almost like there's a universal truth.
What? That would mean religions actually make sense.
I still don't understand the Egyptians.
Now, Confucianism focused on three main pillars or foundations of belief.
The first pillar was Ren, which translates to humanity, and it was an obligation of respect and selflessness to others.
The second pillar was called Yi, which means conservativeness, and it focused mainly on doing good.
The last of the pillars was called Li, and it was more or less chivalry. It basically defined how people were supposed to treat others in life.
Just to get an idea of what Confucianism was, here were a few quotes from him. Get out of here. You freaking weirdo. I was gonna do it.
Confucius said, "Faced with what is right, to leave it undone is a lack of courage."
And the golden rule. Do not impose on others what you yourself do not desire.
So it's safe to say that even today we try and follow many of the things that Confucius said because they make sense. They're things that every human being should want to follow.
That's right. Now that we're done with Confucianism, let's move on to the last religion philosophy from ancient China, and it's probably one of the most well-known, and that's Buddhism.
Wasn't Buddha a fat man filled with wonderful knowledge?
Like a violent piñata?
Well, not really. Buddha was originally named Siddhartha Gautama, but was then changed to Buddha, which means the awakening one.
Yeah, he looks like he woke up from an extremely long nap.
Or he was put into a coma by some confused, lost Mexicans who were trying to release the knowledge and wisdom that he had within him. And then he must have awoken by some weird Chinese healing.
I'm not quite sure if that's a racist remark or not. Either way, it probably isn't needed.
I'm sorry.
Buddhism began many, many years ago, and it was actually a huge religion back in 6th century BC to about 4th century BC. And in fact, it's actually been growing these past 2,000 years.
If you followed Buddhism, you always wanted to reach nirvana, which was a peaceful state, kind of like Christians believed heaven was.
How did this religion get around the world? Historians aren't really sure. Maybe it was the Silk trading route, with the merchants coming along and trading as they went. Maybe the monks traveled on ships and went to faraway places. Maybe both.
But historians do know that Buddhism, though, the common man belief says, it was not originated in China. The Buddhist missionaries traveled the world and shared their ideas with anybody.
Kinda like Kurt Cobain on tour.
The most common need for anyone who was following Buddhism was to meditate. You had to do it. Daily, weekly, monthly, you always had to meditate. A man who meditated greatly every day had a larger chance for rebirth and renewal in the next life.
Rebirth was interesting because you went from birth to death, and then back to birth. And then that would repeat itself over and over. Now, one cool little fact about that is you wouldn't keep your same soul or memories, which kind of makes me wonder, how do they know that was real if they didn't keep their memories?
There are 4 different types of noble truths that every follower had to find out and follow. The first is the truth about dukkha, or the truth about pain, suffering, and anxiety.
The second truth is the origin of dukkha, which is where it came from and how it affects a person's life.
The third noble truth is the cessation of the dukkha, and the fourth is the path to cessation of the dukkha, which basically means how to end ignorance, how to end anxiety.
Well, that makes sense. Very interesting, Buddhists.
Finally, there are 6 different realms for souls in the Buddhist religion. The first is hell, where bad souls of people who didn't meditate enough would go when they die.
The second is filled with hungry ghosts, which are invisible to the human eye. The third is where animal souls go.
The fourth is filled with living human souls.
The 5th and the 6th are actually for angels, demons, titans, anti-gods, and other deities that were held sacred.
This is a very different way to look at where souls go.
Buddhism was a great influence in ancient China's philosophy, ancient China's government, and literature too.
Wait. Are there any more jokes we can throw into this very informative video?
Oh, for the love of Buddha, please, no more jokes.